You are listening to a podcast of Ice and Fire, episode 205 for the week of July 31st, 2016. Welcome back, everyone, to the longest-running podcast dedicated to George R. R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire and occasionally HBO's Game of Thrones, as usual.
This is Ashley.
This is Amin.
And this is Kyle.
And we have a returning guest who hasn't been with us for a while.
Yeah, not since last summer, I think, after last year's Comic-Con. But yes, I'm Tara. I was on the Comic-Con panel with Podcast of Ice and Fire last year and this year. I write for a website called The Geekiary, and I organize Ice and Fire Con.
Woo. Really, you just haven't been on the show since about 5 minutes ago when we recorded this the first time.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to talk about today is Comic-Con 2016, our experiences there, our panel, which will have the audio at the end. Next question for Ashley, fact or fiction, Kyle Maddock. Is he real?
Kyle exists. I have met him. He is a person, and he breathes and lives. I assume in California.
Sometimes. Well, Ashley is also real, as I discovered. And I'm so glad I finally get to meet you. I think I've been podcasting with you guys for like 6 years, and I've met everybody now. You're all I love it. I know. I was telling people, I was like, I get to meet Ashley. I've been talking to her for like 6 years, and they're like, wait a minute, but how have you not met her? You've been talking to her for 6 years.
Yeah, no, I had that reaction from someone too, and I was like, well, podcast, right?
Yeah.
And they just look at you like you have two heads.
They're like, but you're sitting at a table together when you do a podcast.
I'm like, what world do you live in?
Yeah.
And I brought down the Geeky Award to show.
After you forgot it initially, I think,
I did.
Right?
I actually did forget it. I was driving into San Diego around midnight, and I was like, oh, shit. And I couldn't turn around and make that 2-hour hike into a 4-hour hike, but or even more. But luckily, I had a friend who saved my ass and brought it down the next day for me.
I got to touch it. I know that exists too.
Yes.
Yeah. So the only thing left is Ashley meeting Mimi. That's going to be the final step.
That's the final one. That's the final connection that hasn't been made.
Yep.
Cool.
That's it. Cool.
Gosh,
All right.
Even I've met Mimi. Come on, Ashley.
Ice and FireCon next year. Let's do it. Let's get Mimi there. Let's get a new baby there.
New baby.
Baby Aegon.
Baby gets in for free, right? Baby.
I don't know. Technically, we don't allow children at all.
Oh, it's 18 plus.
Yeah.
Shadow for Ice and Fire Con go. We don't allow children. Woo!
Yeah.
No babies in strollers clogging up Ice and Fire. That's
a stroller traffic jam, and we're just like, oh man, Amin would have fit.
Yeah, on Sunday it was. I can't remember. I mean, if it was before we met up with you or after at Comic-Con, but we got stuck behind like parents with a stroller, and their kids were like 5 or 6 years old. They're like way too big for a stroller.
Little Robins.
Yeah. We were like, oh, Amin would be having a nightmare right now.
Yeah, Amin's a fast walker. I got to say, when we left our meetup afterwards, Amin was like, I'm out! And he was like, it's gone. Zoom.
Yeah.
Like, well, where did he go?
He has places to go, people to see. He's an important person.
I know, he's got shit to do there.
I actually got recognized later. I'll tell you about that on Sunday's stories, but let's just jump to Wednesday. I got there first. A friend of mine visited for a few days, so he got a badge with me. And I met Michal, who's a fan of the podcast and is in Vassals of Kingsgrave. And she informed me that there was a Game of Thrones press night on Wednesday night. I don't know if I got the email and I missed it or we didn't get the email or whatever, so I wasn't RSVP'd. But I just showed up. I'm like, hey, I'm Amin, podcast of Ice and Fire. Look at my badge. Let me in.
Whoa. And then you dropped the mic on.
She kept looking, and she's like, okay, I'll just add you. I'm like, good.
You're like, do we have to call George?
Right, that's right, you do that.
It says press. So.
I did not know about this press night. It was at the exhibit, right?
Yeah, it was there on the Wednesday night, so it was a bunch of press people that had RSVP'd, and you get in. It was about like 30, 35 people. So you had the whole place to yourself.
Oh wow, the Game of Thrones exhibit we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think it's called the House of Black and White House of Faces.
House of Many Faces, I think, is what they were calling
Did you
it.
say the House of Black and White Faces?
That's what it is. You get your photo of your face, and then it's in black and white on the wall.
Okay.
That's what happens to it.
So tell us about this exhibit. What was that the main?
It's the same place it normally is, like that across from Omni, right? Like in that art gallery.
Yep.
Place. And I guess because it was press, we got items. Like we got Game of Thrones hats, which is cool. We got the little bobbleheads. I got Jon Snow and Drogon. And so that's like what we got. And then you go in, and then there's the throne, so you can get the photo on the throne if you don't have it. There's Arya's needle. You can get a photo with that holding it. It's kind of like built into a stand. There's jewelry and stuff, which is part of the Game of Thrones scavenger hunt, which I did. You take your photo there. There's a couple other interactive things, and then the main thing is you take a photo of your face in this app there, and then it gets shown on the wall, and then you can take your photo. You get a printed photo of that, and you can get it emailed to you as well. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. It's not worth waiting 3 hours for. It's worth waiting like the 10 minutes that I did. So.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it in here. I've done it all the past years, but I just I couldn't sit through the line. I couldn't get through it. So I didn't make it in this year. But cool.
I've never been to it, so yeah.
It baffles me that people would wait in line 3 hours to see costumes.
Yeah.
To sit on the throne. People would wait a lifetime.
A
lifetime.
Come to Ice and Fire
Come to Ice and Fire Con.
Yeah.
Wait to
There's no line.
throne.
You can pop and take as many photos as you want. Yeah. There you go. That's another plug there. All right. That was about it for Wednesday night. I mean, I went and grabbed a bunch of free stuff. I got 2 of those Fox poster tubes, which are quite worth it. I gave one to Ashley. My friend grabbed.
You're such a con goer. I got some poster tubes. It was amazing.
Go quickly, man. People love those poster tubes. You need them for the free posters of the ones you buy. And then my friend was carrying all 4 for a bit, and this guy was like, "Sir, do you think you have enough poster tubes?" He's like, "No, I want your poster tubes."
Oh, Jesus.
Just come back.
My gosh.
Those are a hot commodity. Like they go out every morning. They're quick. It's like a mad rush to the poster tubes.
I guess so.
Yeah. Okay, so who arrived on Thursday? Did you all arrive on Thursday, I think?
I did, and I was very tired because I came from work. I have very little memories of Thursday because I was very tired. I got my badge, and I think I wandered around the floor a bit, and then I got lost in the panel area and was like, I am never going to find anything in this place. And I think I then went to sleep.
You saw me. I saw you. We went to dinner where we had dinner with George 2 years ago.
Oh, you don't even remember you went to dinner?
Nope. Yeah, now I remember. But
yeah, we went to the tequila bar right
I was
seats
up
over.
for over 24 hours at this point, so you got to forgive me for forgetting.
Yeah, we went to the tequila bar, then we tried to get back toward the convention. There was a massive crowd. There was people getting mad. Oh, there was the scan-in badges this year, too, which was different.
Please tell me Amin the entire time you were having dinner was like, right there, that's where I was sitting, that's where George, that's where it all happened.
Well, he pointed it out a few times.
Oh my, it sounds like Amin.
Then I was like, that's where Luis Royo was looking for us and didn't find us last year.
But there was no Manwoody meetup this year, huh?
The Manwoody meetup was after the panel. That counted as that. But there was no Wednesday night Manwoody meetup that we had the past 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I didn't come into town. I got in on Thursday, but I drove in and I didn't get into town until like 11 o'clock midnight or so. So I have pretty much not even Thursday.
Yeah, I was the same. My flight landed at like 11:15, 11:30. I don't know, something like that. I can't remember. No, it was earlier than that. It was like 10:30. But regardless, like I didn't get to the hotel till 11:30, and I just went right to bed.
Boom. Where are you flying in?
Well, I flew in from Greenville, South Carolina. It's upstate South Carolina, so that is at the moment where I call home for about another week.
Okay.
Or hopefully next year I will be flying from Orlando, and I say hopefully because it's way cheaper.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, let me summarize Thursday in 2 minutes then or less. So basically I was there and Comic-Con doesn't have a lot of anime manga stuff, but the stuff that it has is really good. And there was a lot of it on Thursday. There was lots of manga company people there and anime panels, and I really enjoyed it. It was good quality stuff, and I was hanging out with my friend Dave. That was pretty much Thursday, except for one thing at the end. I went to a panel where it was about Superman, the legal aspects of Superman. It was co-hosted by Josh from the Legal Geeks podcast, which I had been in contact with about potentially doing a panel on podcasting. It didn't get accepted, but we were in contact, so he invited me to that, and it was really good. He talked about like what legal duties Superman and Supergirl have, the consequences like smashing up buildings and stuff.
Honestly, that some of my best panel experiences at Comic-Con have been ones that I just kind of decided to go to last minute or like sat through because of another panel that was happening later. I mean,
because you have to be in that room.
Yeah, they do put on very high quality panels, and I'm not talking about the Hall H and the Ballroom 20. I'm talking about the stuff like that. That doesn't get the big crowds or the big lines or anything, but is really enjoyable nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, there are big lines though. I mean, like there was Star Trek 50th anniversary just in the regular room, and it was impossible to get in there. It was
it's Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, and the bad thing was right after that was Star Trek, like the Law of Star Trek, which I wanted to get into. But it was again Josh was hosting it, but it was just impossible to get in there. What can you do?
What can you do?
All right, it's on to Friday. What happened on Friday?
I mean, what day did we bump into each other?
I think it was Friday morning. I think I was cosplaying One Punch Man in the hall, and you recognized me. I think I was just taking a break or trying to. It's like impossible to stop in that hall.
You're totally being a wallflower when I saw you. But yeah, we walked around, and Kristen Netapak was with me, and and Amin got stopped fairly often. People wanted to take pictures, so.
Yeah, we were with him for like 20 minutes on Sunday, and he got stopped a bunch.
Yeah, people were like, "Yeah, One Punch Man!" And then
we took some photos,
and then Amin tried to like persuade me to be like some other guy from One Punch Man.
Yeah, Genos.
And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
So you did the pose by the banner. That was my hangout. By Viz Media, they had a One Punch giant banner. I would just like go there all the time.
Start paying you.
Yeah, they should. I would just walk by her all the time. They're like, oh.
They'll give you a stack of flyers to hand out to people.
Yeah.
There you go. And then, but Thursday, I'm sorry, did any of you guys go to Christian Narn's Rave of Thrones?
No, because we didn't get in. We all requested to get in, and we got sent it's already full.
Oh.
Well, I didn't request it because I knew I wasn't going to be there in time, but...
Gotcha. I did request it. He was supposed to go on from midnight to 2 a.m., and since I was getting into town around 11 or midnight, I was like, oh, sweet, I'll be able to catch this. Except he went on early, and when I walked into that damn club, he had just ended, and like DMX showed up. And DMX, big name, everything like that. I wanted to see Hodor, man. So
DMX lives like 30 minutes from where I live in Greer, South Carolina. He like gets in trouble a lot. Like that's the big news where I live. It's like, oh, DMX got arrested again. DUI, did attack somebody at Waffle House, whatever.
Oh, Jesus.
Not kidding.
Wow.
Well, you won't hear that about Hodor. He won't be talking.
Yeah.
But you know Christian Narn, I think, Carl. Like, you know him pretty recently well.
Yes, I've met him a few times. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
He's I've met him once. He's such a nice guy.
He is.
Just really down to earth.
He really is.
Actually, you met him as well, I think. Didn't you meet him at...
Oh, no.
2 years ago. He was DJing at a con that I volunteer at, so...
And we also, you know what I just remembered, Ashley? We met him at Dragon Con last year. Duh.
Oh, that's right. We were all in our Basquets costumes. He was probably very, very confused, but he had no idea he was standing
You guys
with
really like basketball, don't you? He probably
the biggest fans of Ice and Fire, and he had no idea that we were like the big fans. He was just like, what's going on? Basketball? This is because I'm tall, isn't it, stupid kid?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. But
let's get him on here sometime if he's interested.
Maybe.
He actually does his own podcast, so...
Yeah, I know him and his friend Jake do or have done a podcast before.
Yeah, they do. It's very rare that they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was bummed that I missed that. So he went on too early. He was supposed to go on later.
So did you stay there, or did you just go after that?
I stayed for a little bit. I watched DMX, and then the next group it turned into like Super Club, and I was like, nope.
Okay, so what did you do on Friday?
Saw you, and then
Yeah.
Friday. Oh, I actually went to a taping of Conan, and the Game of Thrones cast was on. They did Hall H, which once again wasn't able to stand in that line and get into and all that. But right after they did Hall H, they went to Conan, and they did that appearance. And so I got to see them there, and it was kind of nice because it was a lot of the people who had died this season. No spoilers, because we've got people who listen to this podcast who don't watch the show. But some of the people who aren't usually at interviews and things like that. So it was kind of nice. And then later that night, I actually got into a invite-only party at Nerd HQ. And when I got past the velvet ropes, the Game of Thrones cast was right in front of me. And Benioff and Weiss, and there was a guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia talking to them. So actually, because I know Christian, I was hoping he was there because he would be kind of like, hopefully I could like talk to him and then talk to everybody, and I wouldn't just be the weird dude who's like, hey, everybody, I love you guys. But unfortunately, he wasn't there. But Missandei, whose name escapes me at the moment, was in the back of the line, and I started talking to her. And yeah, that was pretty cool. That was fun. So that was my Friday. Then I danced with Joss Whedon all night.
Nice. Too bad you didn't meet David and Dan. You could have been like, hey, we're the guys that talk about relative troop strength all the time.
Yeah, I was standing in line getting a drink, and they were right there. But like, so many people started to harass him. I don't think they stayed for very long because I think they really got even at an invite-only kind of party, they still got bombarded. So I'm not sure how long. Excuse me, I'm not sure how long they all stayed. Yeah, fortunately. But yeah, that was my Friday.
Well, because they've got two types of fans, like rabid Game of Thrones fans who are like, "You're creating the best thing ever," and then they have like anti fans who are like, "What are you doing?"
Oh man,
I'd be one of those.
I'd probably just stay away.
I wouldn't be able to approach them. I'd be like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that girl giving them cut eye for the entire night.
So what did you, Ashley and Tara, do on Friday?
Oh, we had a good time. Where did we go first? I can't remember. Oh, that's right. Hard Rock.
Well, we went to, like, Friday during the day, we went to the Steven Universe panel.
Oh, right.
And, which was really good. And,
you got it after a long wait, probably. There must have been a huge line for that.
Oh, yeah, the line experience was fun.
Ashley's favorite part.
One of our friends, Stephanie from the Geeky area, she got in line very early. I think like 5 or 6 in the morning. We met up with her as soon as I got my badge at like 8:45. And of course the panel wasn't till 10:15. So we wait. It was about an hour and like a little over an hour that we waited in line before they let people into the room. But while we were waiting, Kevin Smith and Greg Rumberg from Heroes passed out donuts.
Nice.
So, and they were good donuts too. They were like,
these were the most epic donuts you've ever eaten.
Yeah, Ashley,
you could just feel your arteries clogging.
It
was like an old-fashioned donut coated in like a chocolate coating on the bottom, and then on the top it had like glaze and like coconut and like maybe chocolate
and caramel and chocolate. And then frosting on top of that in like the swirl thingy. And then coconut.
Was it voodoo donuts?
I don't know. It was donuts of sugar.
Yeah. they were so good though.
Delicious.
Nice.
But I don't like the rest of the day we wandered into Nerdist Carnival, and the cast of American Gods was on stage. That was cool.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Was that over at Petco?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was actually listed in the program guide, because I was just like, I don't remember seeing this on the list, because I would have checked it off as something I was going to go to. So, and I'm like, that's Neil Gaiman. What the? So yeah, I whipped out my camera for that.
Awesome. You guys got to watch the panel?
Unfortunately, the acoustics were horrible because it was a stadium. and it was not equipped for that kind of thing. So unless you were like really close up, you couldn't hear anything. But I took pictures.
Nice.
Yeah,
All right.
and then nighttime. Yeah, we started at we started at Hard Rock, and I just kind of busted through like, we're going to Nobu. You know, when they try to check you at the door.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whatever. I was like, we're going to Nobu. It's 3 girls. What are they gonna do? So we went in there, and like we saw like from afar, we saw a couple people, including like Jamie Alexander, who plays Lady Sif in the Thor movies.
Nice.
And then we met Ali Michalka, who plays Peyton on iZombie, because I'm a big fan of iZombie. And poor Ashley was like, she was sitting like on the edge of the booth, and so when this guy that we had been talking to went and said hi to Allie and like brought her over to meet us, like Allie sat next to Ashley and was like talking to me and Ashley and like talking about, oh, I hear you're big fans of the show. And poor Ashley was like, yeah, I totally am.
I haven't seen the show yet, but don't tell her.
Yeah, don't tell Allie Michelle.
She's listening right now.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool. And then we went to Odyssey at the Hilton, and randomly, and I'm talking totally randomly, ended up in a conversation with a guy who works on, let's just say vaguely that he works on the set of American Gods.
Oh, okay.
And we checked on him, and he was legit. But like we talked to him for like probably an hour before he ever even, you know. So one of us finally asked him what he did, and he admitted it. You know what I mean? Like, so it had nothing to do with.
He was such a super nice guy. Like, he wasn't being creepy or anything.
Yeah.
He was just, you know, just wanting to hang out with people.
Nice.
Well, you know,
he's from Canada.
Yeah, exactly. You know why he was super nice? Because he's Canadian.
So we were talking, like, he's originally from another part of Canada, and he had spent some time in Toronto, and apparently he used to work, like, super close to where I went to high school. So we were like talking about that area and stuff. I'm just like, Canadian power.
Nice.
We might have fist bumped.
I love it. That's awesome. Very cool.
Okay, so I went to a couple of good panels. One was super fans in China, which was kind of interesting. They were translating for that, and probably the most photos I've ever seen in a panel. Generations of women in comics, which is really good. They had 4 generations of female artists for comics there, talking about how things have changed over time. That was really good. And then a manga publishing roundtable, which was also excellent. So, good day of panels for me.
Nice. You're a panel machine. I mean.
Yeah, I try to get in there. That's
We're all talking about like the clubs and stuff, and you're like, I went to these fucking panels.
Oh, it's Comic Con, not Comic Club. So.
Well.
Oh, man.
Well, I tried the next day. We'll see what happened the next day.
I danced till 4 a.m. with Joss Whedon. You could have been there, I mean.
You didn't have a +1, damn it.
You're right. I was a +1, actually. So.
Yeah. I think your Felicia Day story was a bit more exciting, probably.
But, for you, probably.
Yeah. Okay, Saturday. What happened then?
We had a panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally all Ashley and I did.
That's all I did. I'm always too nervous before them. It like ruins the whole first half of my day because I'm like, I wish our panel was like the first thing on like Thursday or whatever, so I could just get it out of the way. Because I sit there the whole time like going, oh god, what am I gonna? And I found I did like nothing Saturday because I was just nervous about our panel.
I was so relaxed after last year. I knew it was going to be good. I typed out an outline for us too if we needed it. So
yeah, I like how you're like, oh, no, it's so easy. And I was like, I mean, what are we going to be talking about? And you're like, I don't know. You're just going to say what you say. And I was like, fuck. I was like, god damn it, this makes me so nervous.
Yeah, I was super nervous when it started, and which is unusual for me on panels. I was stuttering and I couldn't remember character names, and I was like, oh my goodness, I think that I'm just like a casual fan when I'm really super hardcore.
I didn't notice you stuttering, really. I don't know.
I thought that Tyrion was the Valancourt.
Oh, yeah.
I did that, and I was like, oh shit. A moment later, I'm like,
I thought you were being devil's advocate there or something.
That was just a
slip
complete
up.
brain fart, yeah.
It's okay. I think you warmed into it and we're good. If the Hound came up or Sansa, I'd try to like pull you in to get your expertise and stuff on that. So that I think that got you going.
To get a
Yeah,
passionate
once I got
response.
into audience questions, then I kind of found my groove. But before that, I was just a stuttering mess.
They actually lined up. The audience lined up this time and used the mic, which is great for the audio recording and just give the full experience
Yeah.
of them lining up.
Yeah, yeah.
I was happy we had a crowd. We were the last panel of the day, so that means those people were staying there for us.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we got the full hour in too. We didn't have to stop at 50 minutes. That was nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's how it went.
We barely stopped at the hour.
Yeah, we went right to it.
I know they were like, "You're done, you're done." I was like, "Oh God damn it!" But yeah, I remember I was a couple of minutes late, and I walked in right as you guys were like walking up, and I ran over and I met Ashley. And the first time I ever talked to Ashley was on stage in front of a crowd.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. But yeah, it went well. I feel like the turnout was pretty good. I feel like it was about the same as it was last year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was a little bit bigger than last year. I mean, and not much, maybe an additional like dozen people or so, but I felt like I was looking out at the crowd and there were a lot less like of the spotty, like a few people sitting here and then a bunch of NPCs around them, you know, that we had last year. So I still have those bookmarks though, still have some left.
Yeah, our volunteers were handing them out, which is nice. So I think Nick and Britta were doing so.
Yeah, that was very nice. And she ended up winning the Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, we actually got contacted by HBO.
Well,
Yeah.
No.
No?
We got contacted by a licensee of HBO.
Okay.
I specifically can't say HBO, but someone who is licensed to for HBO products and different things got in contact with us and offered us Game of Thrones Clue to hand out as a prize. Stuff that can be got on the HBO shop online. So we had Game of Thrones Clue to hand out to someone, and yeah, it was awesome. It was cool.
Yep, good panel. The audio will be released for this episode. Okay, so what happened after is we actually had a hangout after.
Yep.
At a real restaurant this time.
Basic Pizza. We almost didn't get in. I had to use my name. I'm like, this is a mean. Don't you know me?
For the second time this weekend.
I'm a panelist. Let us in. And then
I was mostly like, dude, we've had somebody holding this table for us for like a while now. Do you really want to lose the business of a group of 12? I mean, I don't know what your table spent, but our bill was way over $150. So,
yeah. To be honest, I mean, the pizza was fine, but I was not impressed with the payment system there. This is like 1901 or something. They wouldn't divide up the bill. They had like, you could only use a couple of credit cards. Like, what is this?
That reminds me.
I found it hilarious.
I still have to pay that guy that paid for our bill.
Nick, yeah.
I find it hilarious that at the end, Tara's like, hey, do you want some of our pizza? And then she goes to describe her pizza, and we go to describe ours. And okay, you have a whole list of toppings, and they're like exotic toppings, like that you can pick from.
And plenty.
Tara's pizza and our pizza is exactly the same.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about like pepperoni and cheese. We had artichoke and sun-dried tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah, the pizza was good. Honestly, I actually already reviewed it on Yelp and like.
Whoa. Okay, Mimi, what are you a big Yelp reviewer too?
Oh yeah, I review like everything on Yelp. I'm not elite yet because I've only been on Yelp for like a year and a half, and I don't actually eat out that much. So like the vast majority of my the vast majority of my Yelp reviews are from when I travel. So I'll go like 2 months without writing one, and then I'll go on a trip and come home and write like 6 reviews. But yeah, I'm super picky about pizza. I'm from New England. We have good pizza up there. So
wait, what part of New England are you from?
We've already discussed this, Kyle. I'm from Connecticut. You're from Rhode Island.
Oh, okay, there you go. I have memory loss.
No, honestly, it was the first time that I was ever on the podcast. You and I got into went back and forth about Connecticut and Rhode Island for a while. Had nothing to do with Game of Thrones.
Nice.
But it was all right, other than the bill paying system.
Yeah. Well, I think I should have moved a bit or sat with Carl and Ashley because I wasn't at your table. I was kind of trying to organize stuff, and I didn't actually spend that much time with either of you.
Well, I was like, okay, Kyle's sitting here. I'm sitting next to him because I might never see him again.
A wild,
that was my planning there.
a wild Kyle appeared.
Hey, you're trying to catch him with your Pokeball. It wasn't as like error.
They didn't have Wi-Fi, I checked.
Yeah, people were cosplaying Pokestops.
I know. We saw a group where it was like a person in like a Pikachu onesie, and then another person who wasn't cosplaying but had like a lure on it was like a stick with like a pink feather boa on it, and then the guy just had like the Pokestop above his head, and he was holding a sign that says like GPS signal not found or
Story of my life.
That's pretty amazing because the game. I mean, they had to come up with that in like 2 weeks. You know.
Yep, which makes me excited for Dragon Con.
I think they had panels.
Yeah.
Didn't go to it, but I think there were some panels about it too. Pokemon.
My Thursday afternoon Dragon Con costume is going to be like literally a Pokemon trainer from the game. So.
Boom.
But I'm not until you can fight each other's Pokemon directly. I wouldn't be interested in it. Like
it's coming. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I think they're going to add that eventually. Yeah. Just
they had a panel on Sunday that ended up in Hall H.
Oh, really? They switched it over, I think, right?
Yeah, and they announced
apparently there was like a rumor going around that like some sort of legendary Pokemon was going to be released then, and everyone like was waiting for it, and then it didn't happen.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Well, they did.
Riot.
They did release the look of the three the heads of the three teams, and they talked about how they're gonna do there's gonna be trading available soon and stuff like that. So I come home and I've got all these useless like sand shrews and stuff that I can never find around here, and my boyfriend's like, just keep them because as soon as trading happens, like you can get those from people in like Arizona, and we can give them all of our bug types that they don't get out there. It's like, oh my god, this is my life right now.
I know, this is Pokemon. This is,
Yeah.
Oh my
Question is Mimi playing the game? I don't know if Mimi is playing it or not. She's got other matters to deal with.
Oh, hell, she ain't playing it. Are you kidding? Well, actually, maybe.
She's on the hospital bed, and she's like trying to catch. I haven't seen it on our Facebook. You think this game was made for her, though?
Oh my gosh. So at the meetup afterwards, there were some wonderful people, and I am terrible with names. I apologize, but everybody sitting at our table, I had a great time talking to. There was a young gentleman right next to me who supposedly Neil deGrasse Tyson was going to be at a panel or something like that, and this young man, all he cared about was like education and a Song of Ice and Fire. And he was like, all I care about is school and those books. And it was awesome. He's like, I came here, I wanted to get a science lesson from Neil deGrasse. I saw your panel. This is like the only panel that I'm coming to. I was like, oh my God, he was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And it was awesome. I had a good time chatting with everybody at our table.
Yeah, I tried to move around a bit, but I didn't. I talked to, what's his name? Damien, I think. The British guy.
Yeah, he's in the photos.
Yeah, I talked to him a lot last year, so I didn't talk to him as much this year, but I talked to, and I'm terrible with names too. I don't even have the girl's name in my phone, I think, but the girl from
Alex something. I think Alex is a short.
Alex, that's right, Alex. She, from a podcast called Got Thrones. I talked to her for quite a while and stuff. Yeah, it was a good time. I would love if we do this again next year to be able to get a real reservation somewhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you try, but nobody wants to take reservations. But if we can say, hey, we'll guarantee you like a dozen people or something, maybe it'll happen. So.
Yeah. And I got to thank Sabrina at our table, who was nice enough. She picked up the bill. So thank you very much. It's very nice.
Oh, I should have sat at your table. So, Nick actually covered mine, so thanks to him too.
Yeah, he offered to cover mine, but I felt bad because I had like Erin, my friend, was with me, so it's like half of it was like her. She ate some of my pizza and she had beers that were on my tab, so I was like, I'll send you the money, and I came home and got sick and promptly forgot about it.
Probably. Yeah, we were all trying to like take out our cards, and we're like, no, we got it. And she goes, psh. She like wouldn't take it. She's like, I got this. Like, oh man.
So you had some good discussion over there at that table.
Yeah, it was great. Me as an introvert, I was just like, these are my people. Like,
Yeah, I was trying to
For
talk to
conver-
Ashley and get to know you because I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again, and also talk to the people who were nice enough to come out. So it was.
I was also touching the Geeky Award a lot. Kyle brought it out again. I just kept touching it.
Yeah, and pictures were taken. Yeah, it was a good time. Good stuff.
I mean, I think it's like these are our people. I mean, going to conventions, it's like most of the people at these conventions are your people, but there's always that like smaller sect that's like, I mean, like Ashley, you said you as an introvert like felt whatever. Like all I can think about is the first time I met you when we never met before. We randomly roomed together at the First Sights in BuyerCon, and like the last night we were there, you came up to me in the bar and gave me a hug, and you're like, I just want to thank you for putting this together because it was like amazing. Like this is all these Ice and Fire people. Like when you get together, the online fandoms can be a bit meh sometimes, but like when you get together in person, like last year and this year, we had so much great discussion at the panel and afterward. You know, it can be a really positive community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't had any bad experiences with the Ice and Fire community at all. They've all been great.
Yeah, and the audience is pretty knowledgeable. They recognize Donkey and Egg. A lot of them had read World of Ice and Fire stuff. Last thing I wanted to mention about the panel is because I did bring up Tyrion as a chimera theory. I'm more and more getting into that.
I shook my head and rolled my eyes while you did it.
Well, I like that theory. I like.
I've not heard that one, so I'm gonna have to look it up.
Neither have I.
Supreme Court of Westeros link, so I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, send it to me.
Okay, so that was it for Saturday. Then we get into the parties, but I did go to one panel, Best and Worst Manga of 2016. It was a good one. I'll send you my notes, Ashley. It was pretty good. Yeah, so then Kyle got into a party.
Oh, this was the night of the Geek and Sundry party, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, me and you met us at
Oh yeah, we went to Hilton.
The pool club or whatever it is at the Hilton, and that was actually nice because we got there and we were able to snag like a couch and a bunch of chairs and like and one of them was like this big comfortable chair, and Bear McCreary, who did all the music for Battlestar, does it for Walking Dead, I think Black Sails too, maybe, and several other shows. Like he was hanging out there, so that was really cool. And then we get the email from Kyle that's like, "Hey, there's this party." We're like, "Bye."
Oh no, I bring it up. Oh man, I was just throwing it out there. I wasn't even sure if you guys are gonna go because, but.
I mean,
we were
was
gonna
literally on our way back to the hotel,
Okay.
and we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." And of course, we get to the door, and there's like a line a mile long, and the guy keeps trying to tell me you got to get in line, and I was like, "No, we don't. No, we don't."
Yeah, we're panelists. Let us in. We have a pass.
No, I mean, like legitimately, I was like, "There's always a way in," and like they're charging a cover anyway, so the guy's like. To the people who they were charging a cover to the people who were like in line and like didn't have like the password or whatever, but like I was like, just let us in, but we got in.
Yeah, I showed up because I went to get like just some food, and then I got the text from you, Tara. You were like, "Hey, we're in. Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh crap! I guess I'm going," because I didn't even know if I was going. And then I was like, well, I should probably go now. And so I walked over there, and I saw the line, and like this group was talking to the bouncer or somebody, and he kind of like pointed, and they walked over, and they sort of formed their own little like 3-person line. And I was like, all right. So I just jumped in the back. I became the 4th person in this little like mini line. And then they let us in. And we walked into the next room. And they were like, password, and I was like, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, all right, you're in. And I was like, wow, okay. I don't even know how that just happened.
It was fun. As the night got later, the music turned like more into like club music. But when we were first there, it was like they were catering to the geek crowd, but not just the geek crowd, like the late 20s to mid 30s geek crowd. It was like not just geeky music, but music from like, your high school years and stuff like that. It was great. And the DJ was mixing really well too. And then I danced with somebody, and I still don't know who he is, but everybody keeps telling me he's somebody important.
So you danced. Can I say his name, or I'm not supposed to say his name?
No, you can say his
If
name.
you know who it is, we don't know who it is.
Yeah.
So you dance with Matt Mercer, who is he's the host of Critical Role.
Okay.
On Geek and Sundry, which is like their big program, their big like D&D program. Yeah. He was
very nice and fun to dance with.
Yeah, he was having a ball. He came over and he was just dancing with everybody, so it was awesome. Yeah. But yeah, he's I got to meet him as well. I hadn't met him before, but yeah, we were having fun. I remember like the Fuller House theme came on at one point. I remember when I left later, like the Power Rangers theme was going on.
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince. I know at some point they played the Pokemon song. Yeah, they were rocking out. But then, I guess like as it got later, they kind of like the club took over. It was like, oh, damn it!
Like, why? Why do you take away the good music? Everyone was rocking out earlier. It's because they want people to leave. That's my theory. It's like they're going to start playing bad music.
Did they just keep kicking out like right after the last call or something? It was like.
Mm-hmm.
We were there till it closed. I don't even want to talk
San
about
Diego
what my bar bill
weird.
was.
But it was good to see Ashley and you again, and I met your friend.
We got to dance.
You were with whose birthday it was.
Yeah, Stephanie. She runs the Geeky area. She's,
okay.
I'm a co-admin. She's like our main administrator. She founded the site. So
nice. And it was fun dancing. Got to dance with you ladies. It was good times. Good times.
Yeah. And then Sunday.
Sunday, I got up, I ate some breakfast, and I went home.
Beat the rush back?
I took the trolley back up to my car. Thankfully, it wasn't towed. I didn't have any tickets. And I beat the rush home. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah, Ashley and I actually got out of, Ashley was out of bed at a decent hour every morning. I got out of bed at a decent hour on Sunday. So, and because we had to be out of the room by 10, which is a bit leh. But we went down to the convention center and got some books signed by Pierce Brown. He writes this series called Red Rising, and honestly, it's sort of young adult fiction because the character in the beginning is 16, but like by the end of the book, he's like a few years older. So it's not, I don't really think it's YA. And if you like Song of Ice and Fire, read the Red Rising trilogy. It's already complete. It's just, the books are just heart-wrenching and gorgeous. And the author is also gorgeous. That was my big thing for Sunday. That was the thing I was most excited about. And we saw Mean. I mean, we took some pictures, but I haven't been able to find them. Like they said they were going to email it to me, and I haven't gotten anything yet.
Oh, those.
Yeah. I can send them to you. I actually have them. I forgot to. Yeah, I'll send them to you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I have a copy of the one of the three of us. But like I put my email in so that they'd email. It was, what booth was it?
It's by the Dark Horse.
Yeah. So it's like they have fun props and they take like a pro picture of you and they print it out right there, and then you can also email it to yourself. But I'll have to look through my email. I could have missed it, but and I haven't posted my pictures from Sunday yet, so I do have some pictures of you and me as One Punch Man.
Yeah, that's what I was doing on Sunday again. I thought I was only going to cosplay for one day, but I got into it. So Sunday I was with you for a bit, and then I went with my friends Chris and Laurel. They came in as press, and we walked around. We went to the gaming area of the building, which I hadn't been to before in the past.
Is that where you learned the maid game?
Yeah, I played Tanto a Core, which is a maid game, which you'd like, Kyle. Your job is to get maids in your employment, maximize your love. So I think
maximize my love.
Yeah, and your VP
and my DP. What?
VP, victory points.
Oh
I think it's a mod of Dominion. It's a deck building game. You make your own deck and they kind of chain and do stuff, and it was pretty fun. It was surprisingly fun. I was making fun of it, but then I played it. It was good. And then I was walking around with my friends again, and I got recognized by one of our fans, Leah, who's a cosplayer. It's good to meet her.
Oh yeah, we got recognized in the club.
Oh, that's
really?
Right. That's right.
I was like, oh my goodness, we're getting recognized. This is something I never expected to happen to me.
Was it from the panel, or they just knew you from the podcast?
No, it was from the panel.
Yep. Yeah, there was a girl in the crowd who was like, yo, you guys
Was
are
I
on the
there?
panel. Yeah, you
Yes,
were there.
you were there.
Yep.
Was she one of the ones that asked questions, or just some other person? Like, you don't, do you recognize her?
Honestly, I could not give precise details that I.
Like now
That
now that
clever.
you say that happened, I have this like vague memory of it. But like
I have more of the memory of my meeting, so mine was good.
It might have been the same person.
So that was pretty much it. I went to one panel, Super Asian America, which was really interesting. They had Gene Yang on it, who does the Avatar comics, and some other people, and they were talking about race bending in recent works, and it was a really interesting panel.
Yeah, we went to some panels on Sunday too because our flights were until the evening. I saw John Green, or not John Green, Hank Green. If people know him from the blog Brothers and SciShow, YouTube. Anyways, if you're into YouTube, he helps run VidCon. My little shout out.
Are you fans of Sherlock, by the way, any of you, or have you seen
yeah,
Sherlock?
yeah, I went to
Sarah might have a story.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I went to the Sherlock Nerd HQ panel while actually about the same time Ashley was at the Hank Green panel. So, and that was really fun. I have to write an article about it. There were some, there were some audience things that were like, guys, stop. The whole giving people gifts is like cool, but like at least ask a question along with it. And Zach Levi, Zach Levi, who's running the panel, is like, he started calling them quiffs. Questions and gifts.
Oh.
So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, Moffat about like queer representation, and he had, honestly, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what he said, but he did have a really great answer for it, and I do have it noted down somewhere. So yeah, the Nerd HQ. This was the third Nerd HQ panel I've been to. I went to the Walking Dead one in 2013. I went to the Badass Women one last year, and then the Sherlock one this year, and they were all really good. So.
Nice.
And of course, all the money goes to charity. So who can?
Wait,
argue
so you have to buy a ticket or something for that, right? To get into those.
Yeah. They're like $20 though. I think they're not expensive, and I mean you can get into Nerd HQ, like the building and stuff, for free. And if you're press, you can contact them and ask them for a press seat at one of their panels. So
Nice.
What else you got, Amin? What's else on your list over there?
Yeah, I think I've checked through it. I'm just trying to see if I forgot anything. It looks like I covered everything. Sherlock, check. Okay.
After that one, Tara and I, we both went to what was it? Bi representation in media panel.
Yeah, I think it was,
and it was really
the panel name was like Bisexuality and Beyond, and my only complaint about it is that they had too many panelists. Like,
yeah, that's a problem. Like, you can't get through. Can't get your discussion.
Yeah, they had the moderator, and then they had 6 or 7 panelists.
Yeah.
And the thing was, like, all the panelists were super knowledgeable and should be there, but there was just too many, so it kind of, some only got to make one comment, so it kind of felt like you were missing something there.
It was still a really good panel. Yeah, it was a really great environment, I think, that room for that hour or whatever. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah, and I took the train out, actually, and business class is the way to go. It's a lot more relaxed. You don't have to be in the lines for that. We just got in.
Well, not all of us can afford business class. I mean,
well, business class is only like $10 more, and you actually get a guaranteed seat. So I think it's worth that.
Well, you took a train, or what? Did you train to?
I trained up to LA and stayed with my friend there, and then went out the next day.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe I'll do something like that next year, because I have a friend who's moving to LA, so that could be. It's cheaper to fly into LA. San Diego is so expensive.
So
that's a thing. I actually have a friend who moved to I don't want to say friend, but at the same time I don't want to say acquaintance. So somewhere between acquaintance and a friend that I know that moved to LA, and like I was like, oh, maybe I'll see you in a random Facebook post, and we randomly ran into her on the street, like at Comic-Con with thousands of people. I just randomly ran into her, so it was really awesome that I got to see her again, since I hadn't seen her in like 5 years or something.
That's awesome.
That was cool.
Oh, I met Icheb from Star Trek. You know Icheb? He was in Voyager.
Oh yeah.
He was just there sitting in the panel watching stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so the random meetups is kind of cool like that. So kind of, I guess, as a conclusion, who is coming next year? So Kyle and Tara, are you leaning toward it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm very strongly, as long as we can get the panel again.
We should. I mean, it was a big hit again, so they should.
Yeah. I'd really like to try to do it outside of the podcast, and like that way we could hopefully be in the main building. That would be.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned them last year. Like it's not like I didn't ask. I said, hey.
No, I know. That's just where
that's the problem. People have to walk over there. Like if you look at people, like there's like 700 people confirmed online. Now, not all 700 are going to come, but if it's in the convention center, a larger fraction of that will. They don't have to walk all the way over to that area.
Yeah.
And we had more people than a lot of the smaller panels. Like we can fill a good sized room.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I felt so bad. The Hank Green panel. I went in for the panel before it to get a seat, and the guy was so excited. I was like, "Oh, all these people showed up. The panel was almost full." I'm just like, "Yeah, they're all here for Hank Green." I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
It happens.
Good. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. It was great. It was a great convention. Good to talk about it again. And we'll have our panel next year. We'll see who goes to it, but we're going to go for it.
Are you going to Comic-Con next year, I mean?
Right now, it really is a cost issue. It's even with staying in the cheaper place, which is good. I don't know. I'll see how my budget looks like for next year. Maybe if we can get some money.
All right.
maybe we'll do a Patreon for the podcast or something like that. I mean, like that.
And we did Geekiary. I hate doing it too, but the Geekiary did a Indiegogo last year, and and honestly, like it was a lot of fun. Like we did little things like if you paid us like $50, you would get a postcard from every single writer who is attending Comic-Con, and that was like a lot. It was like one from Hawaii, one from Australia, me in South Carolina, one in Iowa, one in New York City, and we did like little things. I dressed up as Cersei. There was like a milestone when we hit $500 or whatever. I would dress up as Cersei and go in search of wine and video record it and then put it on our YouTube. So there was a lot of like fun little things that we did, and like I wouldn't do it every year, but I think a once in a while thing. If you have fans who really want to see or hear your coverage of the convention, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was a little bit iffy about it before we did it, but then afterwards I ended up really enjoying it.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a great time. But I was kind of playing it like, oh, this is going to be my last one, so I really enjoyed it that way. But I would go again if I can confirm the budget. Well, let's wrap it up because coming right after this is the actual audio of the panel.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you for listening to this episode of a podcast of Ice and Fire. Tara, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Anytime, guys.
There you go. Ashley, it was a pleasure to meet you.
It honestly, it doesn't even feel like I did. Like, it just kind of like, okay, that's Kyle. I already know you.
I just wanted to make sure you weren't a robot.
Yep.
Awesome. So thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned. We have the audio from our Comic-Con panel, A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones fan discussion coming up next. So listen to that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at APOIAF. Join the forums, join the discussion, follow us on Facebook. Tara, where can our listeners find you?
Well, I write for thegeekiary.com. You can also visit my personal event planning business. It's sagaeventplanning.com. And from there you can get linked to Ice and Fire Con as well as Beach City Con, which is our new Steven Universe convention coming up next year. And my Twitter, Tumblr, I think that's it, is at A Geek Saga. So
awesome. Until next time, guys. Take care.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Cast right before this to see, I was fortunate enough around the premiere to actually have dinner with Bran and Christian, or Isaac and Christian. Excuse me, I'm getting all the names. And Isaac is a huge Song of Ice and Fire fan. And he was like losing his mind about Tower of Joy. And he was like, oh, I can't say it because HBO will get me in trouble. But he was so pumped about that. But yeah, we got. I think we can start going. So we started this panel up last year because we were. I know I was personally a little disappointed that there was so little Game of Thrones stuff here at Comic-Con. It's like, unless you're sleeping out overnight to wait for Hall H, there really wasn't much else to do. There's a Hall of Faces and everything, but there wasn't really any other panels besides that, it seemed like. So we just love talking about the books and talking about the show, so we wanted to get something together to have the fans come out and just kind of have a good discussion about what we just saw last season, about if the books will ever come out. So I think we're just going to start off. We're going to introduce who we are, and then we're just going to have a good discussion for a little while, and we're going to hopefully get some questions from you guys, and we'll just we'll have some fun. So yeah. My name's Kyle Maddock. I'm one of the hosts of a podcast of Ice and Fire. Not one of the founding members, but these two were nice enough to bring me on and have me do it. This past season, I hosted the AfterBuzz after show for Game of Thrones as well. And Screen Junkies was nice enough to have me on a couple times this season to talk about the show as well, because they just started up an after show. So I'm doing a few things with that, and I'll pass it along.
I'm Amin. I'm a co-founder of a podcast of Ice and Fire and the Bastards of Kingsway podcast, which is kind of like Game of Thrones intermingled with everything else, particularly anime.
I'm Ashley Mitruck. I'm also a founding member of a podcast of Ice and Fire, and I help out with Ice and Fire Con.
I'm Tara. I write for The Geekiary. I've been on Podcast of Ice and Fire as a guest a couple times. These guys are real fun to chat with. And I also founded and continue to organize Ice and Fire Con, which Ashley and Amin both attend. And we're going to be in our 5th year next year. So we were actually the first one in the U.S., which I'm proud of.
Very nice. Awesome. So last year we had an easy question to start off, which was, do you guys really think Jon Snow is dead? We found out this season he's back. He's good to go. We got some major stuff solved and whatnot. So I guess the beginning thing we can start off with this one is Daenerys actually going to make it to Westeros? Or are they gonna throw something in her path and she's going to have to turn around and go home? Are they teasing us with this?
I mean, I'm still wondering where the heck she's actually going, considering the sun was setting behind her when she was sailing. And I get it. I get that was just them trying to be, cinematic and whatnot. But
we're Game of Thrones fans.
The Westeros is known as the Sunset Land, so I'm just a little confused about why the sun is setting behind her.
She has to go east to go west or whatever, in reference to that. Yeah.
She's going the long way around.
They were secretly, on top of it.
I think she's going to make it, but I think she's got such a large force now compared to the other two kind of power factions left that maybe she'll be a big storm and she'll lose about half of her force.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I think she's going to bump into Euron along the way, and he's going to, wreck her fleet enough. She's going to go home. Which are you guys with her? Think she's going to arrive in Westeros as the savior or a conqueror or what's going on?
Honestly, as soon as those Dothraki show up, everyone's going to turn against her. I don't see how she can bring foreigners into the country and have anyone support her unless, Cersei's in charge now, so maybe they will.
Yeah. I think it depends on whether or not she can keep them under control. I hate to say it that way, but keep them from, doing what they normally do when they conquer cities in Essos. And I'm not really sure she has the long-term power to, keep them from just doing what they have been doing for a very long time.
Well, as long as she has her dragons, then she can control all of them. But she does have the basically the whole south now. She has what's left of the Dornish after that family, and then she has the Tyrells and their forces. I think. I don't know if you agree that all the south is behind her or not.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I think a lot of people are wondering if Cersei, who's behind her? Who does she still have? Support her?
The crown,
who is still loyal to the throne around there?
I guess just the Crown Lands, that small area.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Is that it? Did the Tyrells take all of their
I would think so.
all of their houses with them when they went, or did they sort of break off on their own?
they have the arbor. That's where the boats are. So.
Yeah. I also, like, we also saw Horn Hill this season, and I think they wouldn't have shown us that if it wasn't going to be important in the future. And I kind of think that that's probably her best bet, is to have the Tarleys with her and possibly Littlefinger if he gets too pissed off at Sansa.
Oh, Littlefinger. Could have 500 panels about that guy. How do you think he felt about Jon being crowned King of the North there? What was that final look he gave Sansa?
That was definitely not in his plan.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Well, he saw it coming. I think that's what he was saying, like, let's rally around you rather than this motherless bastard. But then by that point it was too late. She refused him, and now he's King of the North now.
Well, I think that was her just giving herself a bit of agency, you know what I mean? Like, my theory is she and Lyanna had, I think she went to Lyanna Mormont and said, you know, I need this to happen. Lyanna Mormont is very smart, but I think that Sansa had a hand in that because she knew that was the only way she could kind of get away from Littlefinger and not be forced to marry him, basically, for what he did for her by bringing the Knights of the Vale to save Winterfell.
Yeah, but that was such an awesome scene with Lyanna, like, kind of shaming those guys for not showing up. Like, who loved it, Lyanna?
Oh, man. Talk about a season of badass women, huh?
Yeah.
Especially at the end. We got women are in charge right now. It's pretty tremendous. I mean, Cersei took over King's Landing in that brutal way there. Lyanna Mormont stepped up, kind of got things moving in the north. Daenerys is coming over. Yara is doing her thing. Possible coupling between the two.
We joked about that for a while, and we thought, oh, they're going to get together. But, like, whoa, they could potentially get together.
There you go. Is anybody behind that one?
We thought it was a crack theory.
That'd be pretty cool with the two of them there. But she's looking for, Daenerys is looking for a husband. Or maybe she's not looking for a husband, but she kind of left Dario over there because it wouldn't look good, because she's going to have to marry somebody out here. Do we believe that's going to be Jon Snow? It seems to be kind of the popular theory.
They've, like, killed off every other lord in her age range, so I mean, I think that's all that's left.
Yeah. Now, does it not creep you out that it's nephew and aunt?
Not when you look at the rest of the Targaryens.
or the Lannister situation.
Are there other niece nephew couplings in the Targaryen tree?
Yes.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was in the Dance of Dragons.
The uncle.
Daemon,
I guess.
Daemon, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I mean, on top of that, they're constantly marrying their brothers and sisters, so I think it's...
Yeah.
It's just
And
less
her and Jon are of an age, you know what I mean? They're about the same age, so it's less creepy, honestly, in some ways than the
God, that creeps me out so much. I think a lot of people are creeped out by Littlefinger and Sansa there.
Yeah, a little bit.
And am I the only one who's kind of...
No,
all right with
I've
that?
never said it before because I didn't know anyone else would be on my side, but you and I feel
all
the
right.
same way.
Yes, I'm down with that. Come on. I mean, Littlefinger could give her so much stuff. He's got what? He's the Lord of Harrenhal. He's got the Vale. I mean, Sansa's kind of learned that not very many marriages of love happen in Westeros, and she could get ahead in the world if she went with Littlefinger there.
He's just so creepy, though.
Wait, she doesn't know what he's done to her family. Like, once she finds out about that, that could be the moment that she...
I mean, she's already, turned him down despite not knowing.
Yeah.
So once she finds out, I don't know. I mean, but also, we've got Arya back in Westeros, and she does know, I think, a little bit more than Sansa in some ways. Like, she's been gone, but I mean, she was there for the Red Wedding, at the Red Wedding, and she's. There are theories that Sansa was going to be the new Lady Stoneheart, but now I guess maybe it's kind of Arya already, considering she took down the phrase.
Taking out the phrase.
And gave us Manderley Pie.
Although she's solo.
It's not Manderley Pie. It's not Manderley Frey Pie anymore. It's Arya Frey Pie now.
Do you think she'll be the one to go after Jaime?
Oh, she does see him. Like, she was not seen.
She doesn't have a reason to like him.
She doesn't have a reason to like him, but I guess she doesn't have a reason to hate him either.
Well, he's Lannister.
Yeah. She's, I don't know, it depends on how dark they're going to make her character in the show, or how much darker, because she's already pretty bad. Yeah.
Are you guys all? Have you all read the books? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I had a no out there. All right. Yeah, it's not like we can do spoilers anymore. We're going to take it over.
Yeah, they're spoiling us.
Yeah. In a way, I mean, that scene is like a couple of scenes were like that, where they kind of had a nod to the books. It was a little bit different, but they drew upon it, which I think was good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this: as our podcast here, we started off a couple years before the show was a thing, and we're all about the books, and so we kind of look at the show from a book perspective in a way. And now we're in this unique position where the books aren't finished. You guys know how it is, and the show is coming out, and they know the actual ending. And Benioff and Weiss have made a point that, there are fluctuations in it, but they're staying true to pretty much the major parts of the storyline. They know how it ends, and they want to end it that way. Is there any part of you that regrets continuing watching the show as someone who started off as a book reader?
Not yet, but I think we're getting to that point finally. Because certain characters kind of had like this plot armor, like the characters that made it to the end this season. We knew like the Danny, John, and the rest. But as we get closer to the end, that goes away. They could die, especially Danny versus John. I think one of them goes down. So that'll spoil major book elements there because they'll stick to it.
Yeah, it bothered me less than I thought it would. Like, I originally going into the season, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to watch it all. But then as I was seeing, I'm like, okay, well, I kind of knew this was coming. I kind of knew that was coming. It wasn't really a spoiler. But if we get into the end game, like what happens at the very end, then I don't know if I will continue.
Ooh.
I kind of watch it to mock it these days. I do still enjoy it to an extent, but honestly, we watch it together sometimes, and with a group of friends as well. So that's kind of the best part, I think, because we're all on the same page as book readers that we. And also, like, I can't imagine not watching it, even if I hate it, because, like, even if I get to the point where I just can't stand it, I don't want to be spoiled by my friends who don't know who are live Facebooking it as it's like airing.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be spoiled for stuff that I don't, that hasn't even happened in the books yet by people posting it on Facebook. I'd rather just suck it up and watch it.
Yeah, we're so entrenched in the fandom that it would be impossible for us to avoid spoilers.
There you go.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Are you glad you kept on watching? Yeah? Yeah, nothing like spoiled you. You got mad. You were like, damn it, they confirmed R+L=J. I'm so mad. I wanted to wait for that. Didn't know that was actually going to happen.
Wait, what?
What's going on? And there's a lot of things, because it's changing around. So things that happen now, like we go, is that a spoiler? I don't know. We're not entirely sure. Do you think George is sitting at home going, yeah, suckers?
Changing everything.
Yeah, exactly, probably. George seems like that type of person.
I mean, R+L=J has been, was that like the first big theory? I feel like it was. I mean, I didn't read the books in the 90s when they first came out. I was a little bit young, but, I think that the show did a good job with it, but I think they were still trying to have it not be so obvious, but then the lip readers were able to suss out that Lyanna said his name was Jaehaerys. Was that what it was?
Oh, I've heard different theories.
Yeah. Not John.
No, yeah. He's I'm pretty sure she said his name was Jaehaerys, and like it was like lip readers who said like we can, and then I watched it again and I was like turning the volume all the way up, listening. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she does say, if it's not Jaehaerys, it is definitely a Targaryen name, and if she had been kidnapped and raped, as some people seem to think, like why would she be naming her son after Targaryen? So I don't know. Yeah, there's still theories about R+L=J somehow. It's not totally confirmed. Completely. It's not.
I heard he was naming it. He was naming his kids after Aegon the Conqueror and his sister wives, and so John would actually be the last one, which would be the male version of it would be Viserys.
They kind of were using that name already, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would be Daenerys' brother, right? But George, there are so many Targaryen names that they use over and over again. It's not like they're changing it for the show. It's not Yara that they're changing it.
George gets tired of having to come up with names that have A-E in them so many times. I'm just going to name them all Jaharis.
I'm kind of curious, like, if anyone has read, like, The World of Ice and Fire, those kind of, like, background books.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
I found the understanding of Targaryens from that book. Before that, I was like, what's going on?
Oh, so much.
Yeah, or reading the Dance of Dragons bit with the Rogue Prince and the Princess and the Queen.
Yeah.
Those really cleared up a lot.
Yeah, which side were you on in that war? I think you were green or black? I think you were black.
I think so,
Yeah, I was green.
I was black.
Me and I always
we're always opposite sides. You were Blackfires, you were black, I was red.
I'm all about the Blackfires.
There you go.
I was a fan of him until I read The Rogue Prince, and I'm like, oh, no, nope.
Yeah.
Can't say that word here.
I think you can in the Game of Thrones one.
They're warning us on the back that there may be people under the age of 18. So.
Oh, good thing. I'm about to start my Swearfest stuff here. So let's head back to the show here. You mentioned Lady Stoneheart at one point, who is obviously not in the show anymore.
Yeah.
And it seems like her time has come and gone. They kind of went back for a few storylines, but it doesn't seem like she's going to make it back into this. And because of that, we have Beric, Lord Beric, still around. So what's he doing? They kind of gave a little speech about the Night's King and everything, but what's he still doing there? What's his goal?
I think that he's gonna. I mean, it's not clear, but I think he's going north to go to John. I think that's kind of the idea to maybe fight the others. And that's an interesting parallel that you'll have a red god priest there with John, and then Dany already has the red god's like priestess with her. So it's kind of like they both have like this religious element going. She was reborn in fire, and he was reborn up in ice. And so I think that's going to be a conflict. I mean, there'd also be a love, but it's going to be bittersweet conflict. Yeah.
Any thought about Beric things?
I was shocked to see him again. Because he hasn't been around for a while. And of course, in the books, he gave up his life to give Lady Stoneheart, Catelyn life, again. And I don't really know what to think about it, honestly. I mean, Melisandre is traveling south. She's going south. She's leaving the north. She's probably going to run into Arya again because she specifically said that she would see her again back in season 2, 3. I guess, and I would guess that Beric and Thoros and me are going to run into Melisandre as well. So it's going to be an interesting.
I feel like Melisandre needs to meet another Red Priest. I feel like that'll have something come out of it. Like, she's very upset right now.
Yeah.
And she needs her faith restored, I guess.
I mean, that was another thing. Melisandre is super old, which is what has been a book theory for so long. Yeah. And it's like, that was another little theory that I was just like, confirmed. Okay, thanks, guys. George, where are you? But they're putting off next season, so there's a chance maybe that we'll have a book before then.
Oh, you think a book's gonna come out before the show?
Well, I'm hoping for it, But yeah, I mean, they're postponing next season. I don't know when exactly it's going to air, but they've
summer of 2017.
Okay, yeah, so it's summer. Okay, so
just a few months.
Yeah, but that gives George a few more months.
I hear everybody complaining about the wait for the next season. I'm like, just
you have no idea.
No. We had the Dance of Dragons wait was
6 years or so.
I think when Dance came out, we were like 2016 was our prediction, and we're off. It's not out yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is 5 years since Dance came out. It's 5 years this month, so.
Well, wasn't the wait for Dance 5 years as well?
Yeah,
5 or 6.
It's just about the same length right now. Yeah.
Guys, how's the wall coming down?
Yeah, where are the horns? No one has any horns.
Gonna get south of the wall. Yeah. The only thing I can think of in the show is that Bran got marked, right? And that was it. And because of that, the Whites and the others and everybody were able to get through the magic of the Three-Eyed Raven's tree. And so I'm thinking, is he going to go through the wall and then just kind of forget that this mark gives the Night King and his people the ability to pass through the wall? Is the wall not coming down in the show?
I feel like the Night King would have just marked someone a lot sooner if that was the issue.
Well, he had to mark him through the dream. And so it wouldn't be as simple as just, walking up to somebody and holding their hand. But yeah, you had to do it through the dream there, and the other three-eyed raven kind of was smart enough not to go.
I think the mark maybe is like a backup in case they don't want to bring it on the wall, but I think they'll bring it on the wall because what a scene would that be, right? If like the wall comes down.
I mean, that would be amazing to see, but they haven't really set it up. There was a horn in the bundle of dragon glass that they found, I believe in season 2, was it?
Sam
but they
had
never
that?
said anything about it. So it seemed kind of awkward if they're like, hey guys, remember that little horn we found a while ago? Yeah, that's actually very important. Sorry. And Sam's not even there, so is anybody alive that was there with him when they found it? Jeez. So I don't know if it's coming down. I think it might be the mark. I see some nods about the mark. Does anybody else have any theories about how the wall's going to come down? Does anybody? Is that the only way?
Dragonfire.
Dragonfire. There we go. Daenerys comes over and just burns that down.
It just washes down. It's a big waterfall.
All the
Well,
north
there's
is just
people on Reddit have calculated like if it actually crashed, it would create like a tsunami wave that hits Essos or something. And wipes
Really?
it out. Yeah, from the impact of the wall.
Oh, the people of Reddit. I love it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's my concern or confusion is like. The wall can't just, I would assume, can't just disappear. So will it have a major, physical effect on the surrounding landscape if it's melted or if it just crashes down? I mean, this is, how many hundreds of feet tall is it? 600, 800, yeah. I mean, this is a lot of ice that can't just if it melts, or crashes down, it's going to cause some pretty big issues. Bye-bye Castle Black, But, I mean...
Well, I feel George is the kind of writer that would take that into account. Like, he's not just going to let it go. No.
He absolutely would. My question, I guess, is maybe whether Benioff and Weiss would.
Yeah.
It'll just disappear.
We love Dorne here at the podcast of Ice and Fire.
We should have a moment of silence for the Dorne plot.
Does anybody, the show watchers, the ones who said they haven't read the books, do you guys like Dorne? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Dorne is so badass. And what did they do to it in the show? This is, I love the show. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the show. But what they did to Dorne, I lose sleep over this.
Yeah. They're going to avenge the family by killing more family. It lost me there.
It's so sad. Because in the books, actually, the plan to go get Daenerys and everything is the Martells. It's his.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually
it's
planning to do something.
Dorne's plan. He sends his son to go get Daenerys. Yeah. And then in the show, they have her kill him. Yeah. And then her plan is to go get Daenerys. And it's you should have talked about it before you killed him. We would have had it all worked out.
Yeah. And on top of that, Martin very specifically has been releasing new chapters of Winds of Winter. It's like either just before or just after the show does something pretty major. And one of the things he did not long after the whole Dorne collapse in episode 1 was release a new Arion chapter that had previously, I think, been maybe read somewhere, but the text of it hadn't been released. And it's just, more of Arion's story. So it's kind of interesting that he releases these things, especially this Arion chapter right after the Sand Snakes just take over Dorne, and none of them have the Martell last name. So House Martell in the show is extinct.
Yeah.
So this is interesting.
I mean, just the fact that it just says Dorne on the map shows that there's no complexity to Dorne in the show. The Sand Snakes are just simple characters.
Yeah. Bent on revenge, killing everybody.
Bent on revenge. Were you ever going to see Gendry again?
He's on a boat.
Maybe Brienne and Podrick are going to run into him because they're on a boat now too.
They're on a boat, yeah.
And that worries me because we didn't see them after they got on that rowboat.
There's some crazy Bermuda Triangle somewhere.
I know,
have a party out there.
Gargoyles, they had that boat that went around.
Yes.
That's probably what
the boat from Avalon. They just kind of teleport wherever they're needed.
So Littlefinger has one of those?
What's that?
Littlefinger has one of those?
A Littlefinger, yeah. They teleport all over the place. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, Littlefinger's TARDIS. But now I'm wondering, is he just renting them out? That's where he gets all of his money. Because look at how fast Olenna got to Dorne, and how fast Varys got from Essos to Dorne, and then back to Essos, I guess,
Yeah.
or maybe I don't know. Everything moved. They're very vague.
They give up on timelines at the end. They wanted to fit it all in, right? They just give up on.
I guess my thing is it's like they don't show time passing very well in the show. So like
I don't know about you, but I don't really want to watch a show where I just watch the clock tick.
Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I just mean, and I wouldn't want them to do like a 3 weeks later, or whatever thing constantly. But I feel like the editing at times is just really
it makes it seem
done.
Small, like the continent's small, but it's not. Like
especially
you don't get a feel for the size,
especially compared to season 1. Where it actually did take them, several episodes, to get from Winterfell to King's Landing, but now everybody's
we're getting through.
Flying everywhere.
We have 2 abbreviated seasons left. We got to get around the place.
I like that they're doing that and not trying to stretch it out too long. I think, like for example, the play scene in Essos, the scene. I mean, it was okay in some sense, but I felt it was kind of filler at the same time. If you want to see a good play scene, see Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's one of the best episodes where they parody stuff. But in this one, I think it was just extensive. It was too long.
Yeah, that lasted the play thing.
Yeah.
Oh, she went and saw it 2 or 3 times, and I was like, oh god, are we watching this again?
It felt like filler.
Yeah. And for a show that's based on books that
have lots of stuff they could put in there.
that are so deep, it's just especially right now. Like I'm rereading Game of Thrones at the moment, and it's just like the detail and everything. And obviously in a show they can't go into that, but it's like then they insert these things like that play scene that are just. Come on, guys. Yeah. This isn't funny. I know you want it to be, but it's not.
What's the Hound's role gonna be?
Oh my gosh.
Like the Hound, so.
Is he the prince that was promised? Is he Azor?
I can argue that point.
Is Azor gonna be? He's got the smoke, he's got the fire, he's got his face burned, he's fulfilling the prophecy. That prophecy is so vague, I think everybody in the show feels that damn thing.
Yeah. But he's got to meet up with Sansa again at some point.
Yeah.
Well, you're crushing on that. You shipped that.
Yeah. He's heading that direction, right? So could happen.
Yeah. Well, it's everything's moving up north now. Like it seems like the whole storyline. But I also wonder if there's going to be Brienne again running into him.
He seems to have been over that. He doesn't seem too pissed about it when he was talking about it. So I don't think
he was beat fair and square.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, show-wise, in the books, that would never happen.
It's so sad that they didn't utilize Ian McShane more. And I'm sure he's just so busy. Obviously, American Gods and everything. But he was only in like that one episode and only not even very much of it. But I'm glad Sandor is back. I hope he makes his way up north, or at least at some point meets up with Sansa again. I just feel like that is their story it's George's Beauty and the Beast of Song of Ice and Fire, really. So I don't necessarily think that there's going to be any sort of relationship between them, especially with the age difference in the show. But I mean, Sansa has a way of gathering strong people around her, Brienne being one. I mean, even strong and loyal, really. Brienne, Podrick.
Are you trying to say Podrick's not strong? Is that what you're doing?
Oh no, I was going to say Brienne and Podrick anyway. Are you kidding me? Podrick is.
But the big question is, are we going to get Clegane Bowl?
You guys ready for that? You want some Clegane Bowl?
Yes.
It was kind of teased out, and then they just said, "Oh no, trial by combat," and then she blew up everybody.
Yeah. But now she's queen again, so she can do trial by combat and just make a random fight.
And that was a terrorist act, because in one, she didn't distinguish between anybody; she just killed everyone. And 2, it was meant to inspire terror, and it did. So it was right in the middle of King's Landing, right?
Yeah, but see, the Faith had all the small folks. So now everyone's going to be pissed at her. How is it not going to turn into open rebellion?
Yeah.
Because they're all afraid of her.
Yeah.
It's only Qyburn that's the only.
Is she going to blow up the rest of the city? I mean, there's a lot more caches of wildfire around.
Well, that is a possibility. I mean, that's a theory that when the dragons come over, they could just set it off. They can blow up King's Landing. Yeah.
Who do you think is going to take out Cersei? The prophecy.
Tyrion.
Now in the show,
not actually Tyrion, though. Jaime, I think.
Yeah, Jaime.
They don't mention it. In the show, we don't have the final verse of that prophecy. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't put it in?
Not that I remember. Did you know?
Oh yeah, no, they haven't mentioned the Blanca.
Yeah, it's not in the show about the Blanca.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Not in that flashback?
I'm getting confirmation.
Yeah.
I say a lot of wrong things
over there.
fairly often, but I have confirmation here.
Oh no! I just they did the flashback for her, and that was the first one they did, ever. And I guess I don't remember that they didn't say anything about the Valonqar. But I mean, Jamie, it's really strange because he talks to Brienne when she comes to the River Run, and he's saying that he still loves Cersei and all this stuff, but then like the look on his face when he goes back to King's Landing and sees her being crowned is kind of and he obviously knows what happened. He knows he rides into the city and the sept is still smoking and everything. And their last child is dead. I do think it's still going to be him, honestly. Even if they haven't mentioned the whole Valonqar thing, if it's not him in the show, I'm still a stickler for the fact that it's going to be him in the books. I think he has to. That's the only way for him to kind of rid himself of the poison that she is injected with her.
Well, he might die at that point too, probably. But
yeah. So we got Jamie. Does anybody think Tyrion's gonna do it?
I think there'll be a reunion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, maybe it'll be both of them. Because it's a younger brother.
Let's do this together, brother.
They're both younger. So.
Hold hands.
Sure, just like, your theories are wrong.
Going to theories potentially, I guess.
Theory? Well, you're the theory man. What do you got?
Yeah, well, I mean, the one I always kind of talk about because I don't like, but it gains more and more strength is Tyrion is a Targaryen theory.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Because we read the two, Dany and Jon. Jon now confirmed too, and then Tyrion is the third head.
Do you think he's a Targaryen?
Unfortunately, it seems that it will be. I mean, they might not confirm it, but maybe they will in the show. I think the Mad King had an interest in his mother. And there's like his look kind of, and like he survived grayscale, whereas other people got it, and that kind of stuff. Like it kind of, there's more and more and more there.
Are the Targaryens immune to grayscale?
Not quite. I think there's a couple of the distant ones that got it, so he leaves that door open. But yet he was like right there, both books and show, and nothing happened to him. And then Jorah got it, and then Jon got it in the books, Jon Connington. So I think it's being set up more and more that he could be. And he has dreams of dragons, and he knows about dragons and all that.
Well, he visited the dragons.
Yeah, the dragons looked at him.
They didn't kill him.
Yeah. So it's more and more going toward that, which I don't like. I want him to be Tywin's son, like biologically as well, because not that it validates what Tywin did. Obviously, it doesn't, but it still kind of throws a wrench in that relationship.
Well, and it also makes it, if Tywin wasn't his father, then Tyrion killing him doesn't, obviously, like. It's kind of a curse thing, but I don't know if it's actually legit. But
he's still his son, like intellectually and like politically, but still, I want him to also be.
I like the idea too much that Tyrion is his son, is Tywin's son.
Yeah.
So Jaime Lannister told him too, like Jaime's not your son.
This whole time,
Tyrion is.
The whole time Tywin's like, you're not my son, blah 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 blah, and everything. Having him be an actual son, like I just want that.
Yeah. I
don't want this Targaryen stuff. I do want him to be a dragon rider.
It could be. You don't have to be Targaryen or Valyrian to do that. It helps.
Yes.
But I mean, he also I had a theory where he's like a chimera. He's like both Tywin's and the Mad King's son. That's why his eyes are different colors and stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know if George knew about it, but he did have a Malus the Monstrous that had like a head on him, and that's also kind of, I think, a chimera as well. So he would maybe have been aware of it.
Yeah, I've heard that theory.
Some crazy shit.
No, I've heard that theory. The one where he is somehow both Tywin's and Aerys' son, and then of course there's also
no way that'll ever get confirmed.
No. And then there's also like the theory that it's not even Tyrion who is the Targaryen; it's Cersei and or Jaime.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I think Cersei's a crazy Targaryen.
Yeah, she fits it in the way she's acted with the whole fire thing, but I think World of Ice and Fire kind of suggests that it's not due to timelines.
It would be pretty impossible, I think, because they were born too long after the wedding where the Mad King supposedly took, liberties.
Yeah.
So it was too long after Tywin and Joanna's wedding, and then he kept, Joanna stayed at Casterly Rock, for a very long time, and had them at Casterly Rock, and then went to to King's Landing. So
you mentioned Aegon kind of Blackfire, but maybe like expand a little bit. Do people have heard about Aegon being a Blackfire kind of theory? Yeah. So
well, I mean, I don't think. Yes, there are theories that he actually is Rhaegar's son, but personally, I believe he's a Blackfire, which I'm not sure exactly the lineage, but we know so many of the Blackfires went to Essos, and we also know that Illyrio and Varys have been playing, their games for so long that it's just, it makes more sense. It makes sense to me that he is of Targaryen blood, but not, he's not Rhaegar's son.
Yeah.
Like that would just be, he's a red herring, you know what I mean? And he's not even in the show, which kind of sadly almost proves how unimportant he's probably going to be to the end game in the books.
Well, Tyrion screws him over too, because he was planning to go to see Daenerys, and kind of he plays him to go west.
Yeah.
And now he goes without any support, and he's going to be ultimately in trouble, I think, in the long run.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tyrion is with Daenerys in the show, and pretty much, going to end up in Meereen with her in the books. I would think like he's right outside the walls, and they're about to, we got the one Barristan chapter where he goes out to fight, the slavers. So. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
What other theories you got?
Didn't you have the one you mentioned every year with the Merling?
Varys is a Merling?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I don't even remember the facts of that. It was like all the descriptions are like he like slithers across the floor. Superhuman fish strength. And that's how he's able to get all over the place really fast.
The Manderleys are Merlings too.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So.
I mean, it's so obvious because of their sigil. Is it just the Manderleys and Varys who are supposedly Merlings, or is
there somebody else?
I feel like that theory has expanded. I mean, this is most of what I've seen has been from like Reddit, and that the Song of Ice and Fire Reddit gets pretty deep into some crazy stuff. So I want to say there was even a rumor that maybe Littlefinger was.
I think he has a ship, maybe the Merling King or somebody does.
Oh no, it's that Littlefinger works for the Merlings.
Oh yeah. That's whatever.
Oh no, it's all mapped out.
If the wall comes down, that's good for them. There'll be more water around.
It'd be great for the Manderleys.
Well, I do want to mention for Aegon, it kind of ties in, like, explains why Illyrio didn't care about Dany at all. It seems like maybe he wanted to send Dany ahead first with the Dothraki to cause trouble, and then Aegon comes in and cleans out the Dothraki for you. Like, that was probably his initial plan, but he keeps changing his plan.
Well, I mean, and it's him and Varys working together. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the sad truth of it is that right now they're probably, even Illyrio, though we haven't seen him in so long, and even though Aegon isn't in the show, like Varys and Illyrio are probably the two like strongest players.
Yeah.
Because nobody really knows what they're doing in the background. We as readers know a lot more about it, but nobody else has witnessed it really, except for Arya overheard that conversation in Game of Thrones, but.
Do you think anything will come of that? Like, will she ever put that together, or was that just there for the reader's benefit?
I'm not sure. I would like her to put 2 and 2 together. I mean, right now she is so angry and a little bit lot crazy. And I mean, honestly, when somebody is that, mentally like affected, and has experienced that sort of tragedy and everything, it's really hard to remember like little things like that. I think it'd be cool if she did, but I don't know that it matters. I think it was, George just needed us to know that Illyrio and Varys were working together. And I actually like that he gave that information to us so soon and then didn't really bring it up again until book 5. It's one of the beautiful things about the series that there's these little things, these little scenes, these little conversations,
every time you reread the books, there's something new.
Oh yeah.
And that's how they got rich too, was stealing something and selling it back like at a higher price. And that's the throne, basically. Take the throne, bring it back to him. That's the plan.
That's the plan?
Yeah.
You guys want to take some questions?
Yeah, I think so. Ideally, if you can come up to the mic so we can hear it.
You got any questions? You guys want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go, yeah. Do we have a prize potentially?
There is a prize a little. Yeah, a little
so you
later.
need to ask a question to be eligible. Let's try
Listen to
it.
this guy. Okay, so I'll ask you guys a question.
Yeah, okay.
A little prize.
Okay.
Hello. Oh, no, hi. I'm Alexandra. I actually co-created Game of Thrones, which is another Game of Thrones podcast that we tend to just show during the season. We did attempt a reread of all 4 seasons last summer, which went kind of off the rails during Clash of Kings. But we quickly realized this wasn't going to work. But one of the things we really fixated on that I'd forgotten about was Patchface, Stannis' fool who spends time under the sea, is brought back, is found days later on the beach, is supposed to be ice cold. Something is tickling my memory that we've seen something like this happen before. What do you guys make of that? Do you think we're going to see do you think we're going to get more stuff fleshed out with the drowned god, and that's maybe somehow related, or maybe there are Merlings, or...
Yes.
Yes.
I'm really a big fan of the mythology going on. I know there's the storm god as well. I was more on that coast. So I'm wondering if if the faith in the different gods is going to come up again, have more of a religious battle, because there are so many, and they all seem to have power. The seven, the seven are the only ones that we haven't seen. There's still that Cersei might be pregnant theory.
Oh yeah.
Because she had sex on the altar of the mother.
But it doesn't need the mother's help to get pregnant, though.
She was on her period.
Oh yeah, but that still could happen.
There's much of the powers are coming back.
Okay,
the question is, are they assigning the faith to the powers, or are the powers creating the faith?
I think that the powers exist. Whether the gods exist or not is another question. But the powers are there, except the 7 still are lacking. They suck.
Hasn't George said that the gods are not active in this world? Is that hasn't he made that statement before?
I don't think he leaves it up. I think he leaves it up to be decided.
It's not. Sorry.
He won't appear, but they're not active.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So speak more.
Yeah. But with Patchface, I think Melisandre warns against him actually. So what he says is relevant. He predicts things. I think. Either red wedding or the purple wedding he predicts. I think it was red wedding.
I think so.
And then he says a scaled bird or something, which could be John Conn getting grayscale. There's a lot in what he says, so he's worth looking at.
And yet another character that could be Azor Ahai.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not even though he hasn't appeared in the show, he like you said, he predicts so much in the books that I feel like there is definitely something behind him basically being thrown back from the ocean. I really should have died. I'm definitely interested to see where George goes with that, because he's a character with so little power, and yet he says such important things.
Very Shakespearean fool.
Yeah.
There's the crazy one who actually knows everything that's going on. That's cool. All right, what's up, man?
Let's do this. Hi there, my name's Ross, and I'm from Austin, and so in University of Texas, we actually hosted a Game of Thrones class. Where we did literary criticism of the first 2 Game of Thrones books.
That's awesome.
And so my question kind of comes from that, because I wrote my final paper on Littlefinger, specifically how Littlefinger abused Keynesian economics in order to prep the realm for self-destruction. Mm-hmm. And so my question to all of you, really, and I know you love Littlefinger, so I'll kind of go.
People I look up to in this world.
You're more of a doctor here.
Say goodnight before I go to bed. So my big question is this: why does Littlefinger work? And I mean that in the sense of, in the world, he doesn't have the context, he doesn't have the, he doesn't have the familiarity, and he's kind of angered some powerful houses by making a fool of himself and getting nearly killed by, Brandon back when he was a kid. So, in your opinions, why was he able to pull it off? I mean, he's smart, but what is it about Littlefinger that makes him so hard to figure out for so many people in mainly the books? Because he's kind of a comic book villain.
Oh yeah, it's middle finger in the show.
Yeah. But what is it about Littlefinger that makes him so good at ascending on the chain?
I think it's because he's so unassuming. He's not a very tall person. They have a lot of, people's stature. They put a lot of faith into that. And he's so unassuming. He's not a highborn, like he's a lord, but he's not high enough for him to be actually in the power struggle. And he's very well educated. He knows when to smile. He knows, when to just go along with what everyone else is doing, and he knows whose ears to be whispering in.
Well, and he's a little bit of like a psychopath or whatever.
Sociopath.
Yeah, he's even again rereading Game of Thrones right now. Like Catelyn just got to King's Landing and met with Littlefinger and everything, and it's just that whole reading it from Catelyn's point of view is very. It points out like this is a boy who she knew as a kid, and she knows that he can be trouble, but she's still like, oh, but he's just Littlefinger, and the fact that this woman who probably knew him as well as almost anybody else ever could or did is also taken in by him it just speaks to how easy it is for him to manipulate people.
It's also he hasn't been reaping rewards until recently, and it's only now that people are starting to question it when he got Harrenhal. So him just being in the background, people just don't think he's doing anything.
Yeah, and he's in the books. He's good at sucking up to people. Like he's good with Renly in the books to show it. Renly doesn't like him, and I think Tywin or someone kind of sums it up. He says he has no armies he can command. He has no lords that follow him, so he's not seen as a threat. He's seen as someone useful, someone who's running the economy pretty well. But I do agree. I think he kind of set up the economy to fail. Stephen Atwell also talks about that in his blog online. That I think he set up everything to fail.
I gotta imagine, I gotta ask, what's holding him back from getting exactly what he wants? He doesn't seem to have, at least at the beginning of his journey, all that much to lose.
Well, he wanted Caitlyn to begin with.
Yeah. He wants Caitlyn.
Yeah. So
and then she's gone, and then, but it's like, when I set out to do something, or like in my work world or anything, I'm like, well, okay, what if I fail this? I won't be able to pay my rent or whatnot. I won't have a house. Littlefinger doesn't seem to have much to lose. He's kind of like, all right, I'm going to go get what I want, and there's nothing holding me back.
Yeah, and that's the show kind of shows that as well. Yeah, like he's willing to destroy everything if he can be the king of Ashes. So he'll do anything possible to get where he wants to go.
Yeah. I think without those barriers in the way, I think he has a much easier time of just making it happen. And he doesn't seem to be upheld to all the honor and everything with all the other men.
He's a master player up there with Varys, right? He sets up people even to oppose him, like Lynn Corbray, but actually they're working for him, which suits him, right?
He's not confined to the rules of society in that way. Thank you very much. I gotta go to that class.
Maybe you can do a guest lecture or something.
How you doing?
Hi, my name's Gary. I'm from Virginia. Big fan of the show and the books. On the topic of crackpot and crazy theories, I heard from a friend a little while ago that says basically in the books the High Septim is Howland Reed because
I've heard that.
Yeah.
The High Septim and Howland Reed, they have very dirty hands and feet, and I think in certain dialogue with the High Septim, like Cersei, the High Septim has a lot of his proclivities for Ned Stark, and he's sympathetic to Ned Stark. So I'm not sure if that theory has if it's valid or if it's legitimate. Just want to get your thoughts.
You said you heard that.
Or do you? Go ahead.
Well, I've heard the theory. I don't personally believe it's true.
Yeah.
I feel like someone from the north would have noticed. Well, I guess there aren't.
I don't even think it's the notice really, but I mean, he shows a respect for Ned, but it's more like you've defamed that place where he died, and I think for somebody from the north, he's kind of set loose the Seven again. That's not good for the north in the long run. I don't think he'd be dumb enough to do that. In the short run, it might work against the Lannisters, but.
I think the theory more came about is more people wondering where is Howland Reed.
Yeah.
I think that's the bigger question.
Where is he?
When is he going to show up?
Yeah, I think he's exactly where.
Yeah. He's having a party with Ned's bones up there.
The Greywater Watch.
He's keeping them safe. So.
Yeah.
But he's like the guy who will confirm Jon Snow. Is pretty much what everyone believes is his role.
Well, yeah, he's Bran has had in the show he's had the visions or the flashbacks through the Weirwood.
Oh yeah, well the backstab. Yeah. I think it was something more than a backstab though in the books. I think it was either like some sort of unorthodox marsh fighting technique or magic. I think, not just like a backstab.
But yes, I mean, Bran has seen. We've seen through Bran Arpos Gauger confirmed, but somebody needs to confirm that to everybody else in Westeros, and Howland Reed is the only person who can. And I mean, I think he's just shut up in Greywater Watch. I've heard the theory about him being the High Septim, but I think it's one of those crackpot ones that's like, it sounds like it could be cool, but in the end, it's kind of like, how would this work? And kind of, I can't remember which one you just said it, but the idea of him backing the Seven when he's a Northerner is also a little bit, especially to that extent. It's
like he could make a play like that, but he probably would know that long term it's not good for the North.
Yeah. Thank you. We do love crazy theories. Bring them all to us.
Hi, my name is Emma. In the event that, say, Daenerys does take the throne and things happen in her favor, in the first season and the first book, she's supposedly cursed, so she'd never have children again. So she seems to just go ahead forward to the throne with like no plans at all for any heirs. What would happen if she couldn't actually have an heir? What would happen to the kingdom afterwards? What do you think?
This is my problem with Daenerys, is that she had no plan. She just wants the throne. She doesn't think about the people, what the people she's bringing over will do to the land. She's not thinking about the consequences of bringing, a huge war to Westeros just so that she can have the throne. And she didn't think about the whole fact that she was barren at the time. We know now that she's no longer, but that was a huge concern. Like, you're just going to take the throne so that when you die, it's going to be an upheaval again.
Well, whoever gets the dragon will rule. That's the thing. But I agree, especially early Daenerys is not thinking about that. I think once she decides to stay over there in Essos, then I get a little more respect because she actually wants to fix the situation before leaving. But she might not. She might still have a kid. Like, we don't know. I mean, even the fact that she's either like sick from like dysentery or she might have lost a baby when she's walking.
That's the theory that I've heard is that either she wasn't getting her period for all that time since she gave birth, or that she lost a baby. So either this is like her first period since her son died, or she lost a baby. I know she is suffering from eating the berries or something like that, but the way she talks about the blood, I think it's between like her thighs. That's physiologically, that's like a miscarriage or her getting her period. So I do think that she can have kids now again.
I think it's a possibility. Well, I mean, there's that thing that Mir Mazdur says, like when like the mountain falls and whatever, and people are looking for that in the books.
And I think
Quentin dies, like the sun sets.
So some of it's already happened and some of it hasn't, but I think enough of it has that that Martin is set, by giving her period back or whatever happened, he's setting her up for a future, being able to have a child, not anytime soon, though, hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura. Were you guys ever worried that Sansa might be pregnant with Ramsay's baby at some point?
Yes. I was very.
I was literally waiting for it to happen to make sense. And is it still possible for it to be? Because the time, like you were saying, it's so messed up. We don't know how much time has passed. So, do you think it's possible that she's pregnant and doesn't know about it?
It is so hard to tell with the timeline and what exactly they're doing, but I want to say no, but I don't know if I can say it 100%. I don't know what the concrete proof against it is.
The show can go anywhere. Like, if they're not, obviously it's not in books, but I mean, like, the show, they can do anything. Like,
yes, I'm worried about it. I hope to God it's not true. The time, like we're all saying, the timeline in the show is so off that, but I can't imagine her not knowing.
Her body was in such extreme stress too, outdoor in the cold and everything too.
Yeah.
Not that it matters. If they want a baby, they'll put a baby.
Well, if they do go that route, I don't think that she'd carry it to term. Like I think it'd be a miscarriage or something like that.
It's a
like
moon tea situation for sure.
God, I hope so. I mean, I hope that she is not because, but the whole conversation between her and Ramsey, right before she had his dogs maul him to death, was very much like she's insisting that his name is going to die, and he's kind of like, you'll never forget me and whatnot.
He says I'm a part of you.
Yeah. But somehow he would know and she wouldn't.
But to be honest, for somebody who since Sansa was assaulted by him over and over again, that really doesn't ever leave you, and it won't ever leave her. So regardless of whether or not she's pregnant, he's right. He's always going to be a part of her.
Well, the whole dog scene, I mean, it's like live by the dog, die by the dog. It was that kind of justice, but in some sense, maybe she shouldn't have done that technically. She should have had him just killed the Stark way. But I think that's like the one time she's doing that. I don't think she's going to do that. She's not going to do that again.
That's
it, right?
Yeah, let's hope that
that's how you distinguish yourself from the Boltons.
All right, we got some more questions to go through. We're running low on time.
Thank you.
Sophie Turner said that she's not pregnant.
There you go.
Oh, thank God.
Sophie Turner is not pregnant.
Is that the way she phrased it?
Was that? Yeah.
She was talking about it, and they said like it's more of an emotional thing, like you guys.
Yeah.
You know, I never trust the actors because Benioff and Weiss can just make up anything. Spring it on them, and it's like a late night phone call. Hey, you're dead. Guess what?
She was also really drunk at last night's panel.
Sophie Turner was drunk?
Yeah, she really got drunk.
She flips out the audience a couple of times.
Sophie Turner.
Wow.
Also, on the topic of actors saying things, Bran, the actor who played Bran, I don't remember his name.
Isaac.
He said R plus J wasn't confirmed in R plus L equals J wasn't confirmed in the show. So it's like, can you trust what actors say?
No.
I can see that because the confirmation we got was crossfade to Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Which normally in the show is kind of like when they're talking about somebody and they fade to somebody else, that's who they're talking about. But
and also there's no father implication even in the scene. Like the crossfade implied something, but there was no father implication.
But like the HBO infographic was HBO's way of that was their way of implicitly saying what was what for HBO, not George R. R. Martin, but HBO like made their
It was just, it's like, here's a baby, here's Jon Snow, here's a baby, now back to
Not Jon Snow, what is it, Old Spice commercial?
Sorry, it's really easy to get bogged down in details.
Yeah.
But on a sort of a really high level, if you think about the books and like what the point of the book is, it's basically saying that war sucks. Like it, death and famine and all of this. And I think you're really going to see that with Winds of Winter. All the small folk will probably all be dying as everybody's supplies run out and stuff like this. And he covered this a little bit in the show with Septon Ray about how war sucks, but then they seem to solve it with brutally decapitating people. So do you think the show's ever going to get onto that book point about how war sucks, or do you think it's just sort of going to carry on saying, like, hey, cool, decapitating people?
It depends on, I guess, what you think about it when you see it. If you're like, oh, that was cool, then I guess you're never really gonna kind of go with the idea that war sucks. But if you watch it, you go, that's really sad.
It sucks that Lyanna Mormont sent all those men to probably almost all of them, if not all of them, died in that battle. I think they show it, but not well.
Yeah, the whole point of the grave digger scene with Clegane again, that's to illustrate what the war is doing to the small folk.
Right, true. We only got 5 minutes left, and we got like a prize to get out. Thank you so much.
Pictures.
Let's do some rapid fire responses.
Mine's also kind of about anti-war stuff. So I tend to be pretty critical of the show. I was really upset whenever they messed with the Brienne story. My favorite arc from the books is the Brienne arc in Feast for Crows. What do you think about the Brienne story in the show compared to the books?
I don't like it.
She can do no wrong.
That's my rapid question answer.
Gwendolyn Christie so much, and I think that she had the actress it's bad writing. It's very much that, women can only be badass if they're doing badass things. That's just kind of the way they've also taken Sansa at this point, you know. It's frustrating because her arc in Feast for Crows, where she finally kills her first man and everything, it's so sad and so like well done, and now instead in the show she's just this like marauder basically, and it's maddening.
Well, I did like the Jamie interaction this season. I thought that was nice.
Thank you guys. Thank you, man.
All right, last one then.
Last one. Okay, quick question. Since we've kind of been talking about like the free dragon riders, do you think there's any? I know there's been theories out there that people think that Bran could possibly ward into one of the dragons.
Yeah, it's called dogging into dragons.
Oh, dogging?
Dogging.
Dogging.
Yeah, that's the term we came up with. Yeah, so I definitely think it's possible. Yeah, if you can potentially get into a human, why not a dragon?
I think that's what they were leading into with the whole him morphing into humans, because you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Is that dragons are more intelligent, so it's since he can do that, he can also do the dragons.
Yeah.
I've heard the theory, and I honestly thought that maybe dragons were kind of like impervious to it. I don't know if my mind will change on that. I think it's kind of one of those things where it can go either way, and I'm okay with it either way. But
they do have a connection to their writer, like that's kind of shown in Princess and the Queen. One of them dies, and they know. But still, if you can get into a human, if you can skin change into a human, why not into a dragon?
Well, I mean, they have more armor than people do, so I'm just saying.
Okay.
No, it probably. I would think that it's possible, but I kind of don't want it to be. Personally.
Thank you so much. You got a couple photos to show? Okay. No, I'll do. Do the photos. Do the photos.
All right.
Yeah. Quick on what the photo. What we're looking at. This is Ice and Fire.
Oh yeah, this is Ice and Fire Con. Sorry, I can't see it very well. The top left picture. Your left is from Ice and Fire Con this year. We have a throne now. We have a lovely gentleman who made a throne and brought it. The one on the right is obviously Duncan Egg, some cosplayer friends of ours. Actually, the girl who's dressed as Egg is the other organizer with me. And then down at the bottom here, we did Aegon and his 9 mistresses. That was last year,
nice.
So that was a really fun group.
So this first book here, actually at this panel last year, I met Travis Langley, who is a genius, a very nice man, and he asked me to contribute. Hey, there he is, right over here. He asked me to. I was fortunate enough to contribute the foreword to the Game of Thrones psychology book. And if you guys enjoyed our discussions and much more in-depth and more intelligent than anything I can possibly say, definitely pick up this book right here, Game of Thrones Psychology, The Mind is Dark and Full of Terror.
We're going to give some copies away at a 6 o'clock panel.
Fun.
Where?
The Geek Shall Inherit is the panel. It's in a Marriott Marina Marquis Pacific 24 at 6 o'clock.
Here we go. Awesome. Very cool.
And those are 2 books that we've published, and like just analyzing the books basically. So we've done like kind of essays in there and stuff. And this is the MS Paint project.
There you go.
Each chapter in MS Paint.
There's no deviant art if you look for us.
And then we hand deliver these to George at different cons. And he was like, "Oh, great."
We showed it to the counter artist too. So we're on the 3rd book right now, almost done. Anybody can submit basically. Any person who just joins in can do a chapter.
Very cool.
And meet up afterwards.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go eat some pizza. So I have a question for you guys here. Raise your hands to try to pick the first one. Here's a tough one. What was the original air date of the U.S. premiere of Game of Thrones? Oh yeah, I didn't want to ask something where everybody would throw their hands up super quick. Yeah, what's up?
I think it was really close to my birthday. Was it April 6th, 2009?
Very close. Very close. Yeah, if nobody else has a guess, I think that's close enough. What's up?
April 4th, 2011.
Nope. Now we're gonna go.
We have no book questions.
There you go. I think that was really quick, and you were the only one who even wanted to give it a chance.
Yeah.
So let me give you a prize over here.
What's the prize? Oh, it's a FedEx box, thanks.
Just so you guys know,
You're getting a FedEx box.
Just so you know, you guys can find this and lots of other cool things at the HBO store. But we have Game of Thrones Clue.
And this is thanks to HBO, right?
I won that today, by the way. Not that, but like the thing in the Paul.
You're very welcome. Can I take it? Awesome. Thank you so much. There you go. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys
Thank
for
you guys
coming.
so much for coming, and enjoy the rest of your time.
Taking
this photos, yeah. My friend can take some. Before you put it away, she can take some photos.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Laura, you want to take some photos? Let me, just hold on a sec. Let me just stop this first file, make sure it's done. Okay, say bye, Ashley.
Bye.
Okay. Now do I have to just hang it up?
You can't just put that on me.
Oh, say it again. Say bye again.
Okay. Bye.
Perfect. Do I need to end the call, or you have to
stop
stop
the
recording?
recording.